episode 403 talking about Juice WRLD, and I think that there is no better place to start than talking about how bad the Chicago White Sox are, and how they're in a division where the whole AL Central is worse than the whole AL East. And we talked about it last year. Like the AL East seems like one of the best divisions of all time.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's honestly just horrible to be a part of. I mean, my my wonderful Boston Red Sox are 25-20 and tied for fourth place. That is first or second place in every other division of baseball, and it just doesn't matter. I mean, there's a good
Wild
chance
card
that
spot
fourth
too.
place in the yeah, there's a good chance that fourth place in the AL East gets you a wild card spot. I mean, that does mean that one of Texas or Houston doesn't make it. I don't foresee that happening. I think it's going to probably be two out of the AL East, and then but and again, 45 games into the season, so it's a lot of baseball left to be played, but it is brutal right now. So I mean, you lose two games and you drop from third place to fifth place, and it feels like, oh, we just plummeted to last place. And then you look around and it's like, all right, this not all last place are built the same.
They are for sure. Like being a Boston Red Sox last place compared to a eventual Chicago White Sox last place is two different scenarios. And Lance Lynn, get off my baseball team. Well, not my baseball team until they act like they're competent, but Lance Lynn, get off the team so I can like them again. Because I'm tired of you talking so much and having like a +5 ERA. It's like the second year in a row you've done this. Like, why do you talk so much? I don't understand. Do you want him on your team, Taylor? We'll trade
No,
you
I
Lance
know we
Lynn
have
for
a
Devers.
mutual. Yeah, fair. I know we have a mutual. Yeah, we can reunite Devers, Moncada, and Benintendi
Yeah.
and Kopech.
Yeah.
A
Come
little
on.
little Red Sox minor league reunion. They were
Yeah.
all on the same teams at the down in double and triple A. Yeah, so fuck it, why not?
Yeah, and you guys have by far the best prospect out of the four that you just mentioned.
Oh yeah,
Actually, yeah, by far.
it's not
Benintendi,
close.
if I had to rank it, probably say Devers, Benintendi, Kopech, Moncada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. And at one point, I mean that was the top of the Red Sox farm system. Those four guys. I mean, Benintendi and Moncada were together. Devers was right under them, and Kopech was in the mix as a pitcher. So yeah, I think that Lance Lynn for Rafael Devers is fair. I mean, who would say no? We have a mutual friend who would definitely say yes.
Yeah, agreed. Like he likes pitchers that are +5
Not
ERA,
good.
and
Yep.
and well, it seems like every pitcher is +5 ERA these days because like the
When
pitch
you just
clock.
have to, well, I mean, hey, when your only solution is to just start cutting guys and starting anybody just because for the sake of just giving the fans what they want, a new 25-man roster every other week, I think it's a great move to trade your best player for
Someone who is probably
a
going to be
bad pitcher.
pitching
Yeah,
in the KBO next season.
exactly. Why not?
Yeah, no. What do you think about the pitch clock so far? Real quick.
I wish it was just a little bit longer. I really love it. Honestly,
Mhm.
it keeps the game moving. And I just wish it was a little bit longer. I almost wish they would just go to a flat 24-second clock like basketball. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And just be like, yeah, okay, so you have this amount of time. All the other rules. I mean, last weekend Kenley Jansen blew a save against St. Louis because Wilson Contreras was stepping out of the box and then stepping in the box like it was 8 seconds left when there was like 19 seconds left on the clock. So then Kenley gets ready as fast as he can and throws it because he's like thinking that someone is off somewhere, you know what I mean? And then he got three pitch clock violations, blew a save. It was terrible. And then I mean, this week they outlawed what Wilson Contreras did. So there's little things like that they're gonna have to keep working through. And I do think there's something to what you're saying about certain pitching stats being up and certain batting stats being up, kind of balancing that. So I think as a fan, I like it a lot because it keeps the game moving more. We're seeing, some better hitting from guys who may have had to deal with, and this isn't so much pitch clock. This is more of like the shift. Um, deal with super long at bats where a guy grounds out into the shift after 8 pitches because that's just what baseball was. So as a fan, I like it a lot. I think it really just it's streamlined the game and it makes it a better viewing experience. Now I understand why some players are frustrated with it, and I
Yeah.
understand why it's not working out for some players, but I also fully trust that the professional athletes will figure it out because that's what they do. And a lot of these guys came up through the minors with these rules in place. So once you have, I mean, give it a couple years, and once you have certain guys out of the league or certain guys who are kind of in the twilight of their career, and the majority of the league is built up from guys who have been playing with these rules the whole time, I think that we won't even think about it.
Yeah, agreed. I think that as for right now, though, I think that I agree. I think they need to add more time to it. One, because you're seeing like the bigger pitchers like Lance Lynn or Alex Manoah, like they're not able to last into games as long as they would have because like they were pitching every 30 seconds. They're not used to that. Like they're big bodies. Like they're not used to that. Also, like older pitchers like Scherzer hasn't really been as sharp as we expect them to. Verlander's first start was great, but then the second one, he kind of blew up a little bit. And I think that's attributed to the pitch clock as well. I'm also interested to see how many injuries we get from the pitch clock because again, like pitchers aren't able to set themselves and make sure they're right before they're able to throw a pitch. It's really more so about I don't want to give this guy a free pass to first base, so let me just throw this shit right now. But in that scenario, I'd rather you take the pitch clock violation than throw a cookie down the middle. But that's a topic for a different story.
Yeah.
Well, that's a topic for a different discussion. Same thing. Anyway, this is the Cat Podcast, episode 403. I am your host, Nate Sperlin. That is Taylor McLeod. Thank you for watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and more. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OldMilk Media. And check out all the Old Milk content at oldmilk.co. Again, this beanie is made by me, and you can buy it on oldmilk.co. So check it out. It's your weekly tour through hip hop. Taylor, how you doing?
Good. We had our little sports discussion. If you watched episode 402, we talked about my least favorite sport, the team that I don't watch any games of, the team that I don't invest anything emotionally in. So that doesn't really bother me at all that team is in that situation. I'm not, I don't even think about it really. And then we talked about baseball, which is kind of just getting in the swing of it. So, looking up, looking forward, nothing is happening that could possibly bring me down in this very moment.
Quick side note, Taylor wore a Boston Celtics hat, I believe, on episode 401. So guys, check that out. Either 401 or 400.
Yeah, then Tatum had 51 points in game 7 right after it. So I don't need to hear about
it. All right. Taylor, are you ready to get into verses?
Absolutely.
All right. On this episode or this segment of verses, we're going to be picking our favorite tracks from each of the Juice WRLD albums. So we're going to go from Goodbye and Good Riddance all the way to Fighting Demons. And we are including the Juice WRLD and Future collab World on Drugs as well. Taylor, go first.
Are we going to go back and forth?
No, just go through it.
All right. So I have from Goodbye and Good Riddance, I have Candles. I think that's my favorite track from that. From Death Race for Love, I have On God with Young Thug. Yeah, I need to pull up the albums. On Legends Never Die, I have Wishing Well. On Fighting Demons, I have Doom. As a single, I wanted to throw this in there when we actually started doing this. I love Cigarettes. That came out last year. I had heard that on SoundCloud so many times before it came out officially. It came out last year officially. I love that song, so I just threw that in there as a little, little extra. And then let me think. All right, I pulled up World on Drugs. I'm gonna say Hard Work Pays Off. The closer to World on Drugs. I love that song. My favorite song on that is Afterlife, but that's just Future, so I'm not gonna, but Hard Work Pays Off. That's like a big time, like that's like an inspirational song in a way where it like brings a smile to my face. It's not like some other songs, like some like Moment of Clarity by Jay-Z, where it's like the super crazy, like super heavy beat that like gets you in the zone. Like Hard Work Pays Off kind of like gets me a little more like smile on my face, a little more motivated, a little more like, let me go do this, as opposed to like let me lock in and get something done. It's like, no, I can do it. I believe in myself.
On my end, Goodbye and Good Riddance, I have Used To. Just the repetition of it as well, and like the impact of the lyrics and also the beat. It's the perfect, aside from Lucid Dreams and a lot of other tracks on Goodbye and Good Riddance, which we will get to. It's like the perfect representation of the meme where you have the pink house and that's the beat, and then you have the dark house and that is the lyrics. And Used To is just the perfect representation of that. It's also a song where you can, a lot of Juice WRLD's music is like that, where like if you're just listening to the beat and the flow and his musical talent, his singing talent, you can tune out the sadness, but like if you're really feeling sad and you need something to relate to, then you can just like actually actively listen to it. So used to for sure. World on Drugs, I got Astronauts. The way that Future comes in, Play in the Mud. I need like, come on, that's amazing. Robbery on Death Race for Love, one of the best tracks there. On Legends Never Die, I have a tie between Wishing Well and Bad Energy. Wishing Well is really, really fucking sad. Like that's probably like one of the most sad Juice WRLD songs I've
Yeah.
ever heard. And he, you know what his reputation is, so that's saying something. But Bad Energy, like drain out bad energy. Like, come on, that's like really good. And it's a similar impact to Hard Work Pays Off, where it's just like, okay, I'm feeling a type of way, but like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And finally, Fighting Demons from My Window. The hook is still stuck in my head. Life is a TV
Yeah.
show. If you try me, you'll be canceled. 223 sticky, just like an Ivy Hospital. My wifey fucked me up for the Whitey Malcolm Middle. Put it in her mouth.
Yeah.
Juice WRLD popsicle. Come on, like you can't beat that. You literally
I
cannot
had
beat that.
From My Window. I had From My Window with Doom. I picked Doom, but yeah, From My Window, I have it right here. That was the other one that I wrote down.
One of the best songs he ever made. All right, on the other side of this
Absolutely.
commercial break, we are going to talk about Juice WRLD's Goodbye and Good Riddance. Yo, this Young Lil album is the best of all time. I can't wait to talk to Taylor about it, man. This is gonna be the greatest thing ever. Yo, what's good, Taylor? How you doing?
I hate this album.
Do you have to clean your ears first?
My
What's wrong with you?
girlfriend said everything I play in the car scares her. She said I lost all my taste,
Clearly.
and I need your help.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it? You want me to order you Q-tips?
No, I need hoodies. I need a beanie. I need t-shirts. I need you to help.
All right, I'll see what I can do. I can send you this beanie, but everything else we're gonna have to see. Introducing the 2023 Old Milk Collection. This collection, comprised of hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, and stickers designed by Nate Sperlin, is guaranteed to show everyone your superior style and taste. Man, I hope Taylor doesn't scare the viewers with that bummy outfit. Oh, no bummy outfit today. Look at that.
No, I'm much better. The album sounded better. Everything is better. All thanks to Old Milk.
Rush over to oldmilk.co to shop the 2023 Old Milk Collection today. All right, welcome back to episode 403. We are talking about Juice WRLD on the 5th anniversary of Goodbye and Good Riddance. I'm going to go through the original track list first on Goodbye and Good Riddance, which was released on May 23rd, 2018. So we're coming up on the anniversary. 16 tracks, 44 minutes long. The original version did not have any features, but some months later, they added Lil Uzi on Wasted, and that became the only feature on the album. As for the 5-year anniversary track list, we have 20 tracks, 58 minutes long, and the added tracks are No Good, 734, Lucid Dreams remix featuring Lil Uzi Vert, and Glowed Up. Join the conversation in the comments as we talk about one of the best albums of my generation, our generation, of all time. So, Taylor, where do you want to start talking about Goodbye and Good Riddance?
I mean, it's crazy to think that it's been 5 years since it came out, and really listening to it back this week put me back in the place where I was when it came out, because you feel so differently about things at 19 compared to like 25 pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so like where the music is still so good, and like it's such an impressive debut project. I mean, especially to go no features, and obviously everyone knows the two big songs like Lucid Dreams and All Girls Are the Same. Those were the two that put Juice WRLD on the map, that made him from a pretty much unknown artist to a superstar, like within weeks. It felt like, maybe it was month, but it felt like no one knows who Juice WRLD is, and now Juice WRLD is everywhere. And then this project came out, and I knew it was good then, and I think it's gotten better with every year that's passed. And obviously you have what happened to him. His passing definitely changes an album like this. I think whenever an artist passes, you look at their music in such a different light. And I mean, from the beginning, Juice WRLD wasn't shy about, the content of his music was very much dealing with, issues of addiction, issues of depression, everything like that. So it was already in that space before, but seeing how everything ended definitely changes how I look at it and how I feel about it. So from a perspective of me being almost 25 and looking at it as like this kid was like 18 or 19 years old when he's making all this, when it's all coming out, it is unbelievable that he reached the heights he did with a debut project from the very beginning, like everything from the beat choice, from the lyrics to the melody, everything on this. Like there are no real skips on the original track list. There, it's like it's as close to a perfect debut as you can get. And just looking back, it feels even more important and carries even more weight than it did at the time.
Yeah. I think the one thing that really stands out looking back on it is understanding how good of a pen, well, not really a pen because Juice WRLD didn't really write anything. He freestyled everything. And that within itself shows how talented he is, but how good of a rapper he was. And if you're just listening to Goodbye and Good Riddance, like the first time you're thinking he's gonna be like more melodic leaning artist. He has good bars, sure, but like that's his thing. Like he's just melodic. But as you keep going and you keep understanding more and more about Juice WRLD, you're understanding that this man basically made a classic using his second best skill. And that within itself is crazy. I don't think any artist can really say that. Like every artist, like obviously you're putting out your best skill because that is your best skill. But for Juice WRLD to be able to use his voice and to be able to take his rap pen and then take his melodic voice and put those two together to create really a masterpiece is really impressive. Um, I think my first question to you, Taylor, is Goodbye and Good Riddance a classic?
Yeah, I would say so. I wrote at the bottom of my notes here. Like I think out of the four albums that we've gotten from Juice WRLD, I think this is the only classic. I think it's the best project. I think the original track list at 16 tracks, like I just said, there are no skips on the entire track list, and it runs seamlessly together. The production is so good. The rapping is so good. The hooks are so good. The bridges, the singing. There's nothing on this album that I've ever looked at and been like, I don't get it. I don't like it. It doesn't sound like, yeah, I think this for me out of the four albums is the most solid classic. Um, and I think the fact that it was his debut project and like the buzz it had, especially with Lyrical Lemonade blowing up the way it was at the same time, like everything around it, you know what I mean? And classic albums aren't just like classic albums by themselves. It's everything around it. It's like how like a star is formed almost with like all the like stuff like spinning and spinning and spinning, and then you get the like then it comes together and it's undeniable. I'd be hard pressed to like even find a reason why this wasn't a classic.
Yeah. Adding on to the things that you mentioned, also the cover art is amazing. It's one of the best
Yeah.
cover arts I've seen. He always had good cover art though. Even Death Race for Love, like the music on that album, I don't really love it as much, but the cover art is crazy on that album as well. Additionally, the interludes, the intro, and then there's one called Betrayal. I forget the name of the other one, but the to start off with, because basically it's an album about someone who got his heart broken. That's basically what the album is about, and the darkness that comes with getting your heart broken. So to start off with the interlude with a girl talking about how she never wants to talk to Juice WRLD again, and then it goes to, oh yeah, you found out about me and my new significant other. Yeah, I bet you're jealous. Ha 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 ha. And then it ends with, I always loved you. I never doubted that at all. How could you ever doubt that? Like those three interludes really tell a story by themselves, and then having the songs in between that really adds to that, and it really builds the atmosphere that we're expecting out of albums when we're saying like we want something that is just front to back, just thought through front to back. For him to do this again just on his first try is really amazing. My next question is, aside from, because we've been talking about the original track list basically the whole time, out of the four added tracks, and I'll say them again, which one is your favorite? No Good, 734, Lucid Dreams remix featuring Lil Uzi, and Glowed Up. Which one is your favorite out of those four?
It's no good, and it's not really close. I know that 734 was in the put into the middle of the track list as well on the most recent version, on the 5-year version.
Mhm.
Um, and you can kind of feel that one wasn't there at the beginning. No Good to me fits perfectly within that original track list. And I mean, so much of this music was out on SoundCloud and has been for years. And I think that certain songs, when you connect with them in that way on SoundCloud, and it's like, no, like not everyone has the SoundCloud app, and not everyone is going there and doing the deep cuts. And so I think when you come across songs like that and then they end up there, it's almost it can go two ways. It can be either like, all right, now it's watered down and now everyone knows, and it's not as doesn't feel as special. but hearing No Good within the context of the album, it's like, all right, this fits here. This is one of my favorite, was one of my favorite unreleased songs. Now it's released. So yeah, it's No Good and it's not really close for me.
Yeah. For me, it's Lucid Dreams remix. I remember the first time I heard the snippet for it and realizing I heard the snippet for it. When I heard the snippet for it, I played it over and over and over again. It was literally the only thing I could listen to for like 2 days. And then I came back to reality and was like, this is on SoundCloud. There's mad good stuff on SoundCloud that probably isn't going to be released. Let me try to get over it. And I could not get over it. And then I believe 2 years ago, they finally released it with Lil Uzi, and it's as great on talking about the both sides to having a song that you like on SoundCloud, whether it will be released or not. Um, it was definitely not the watered down. It was definitely like, this is still amazing. I love this song. It even adds to my appreciation of the original song as well. And it really makes me think, because before Juice WRLD unfortunately passed, there were rumors about a Juice WRLD and Young Thug collab album that would be coming out. But what about a Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD collab album? What do you think that would sound like?
I think they have natural chemistry and it's shown multiple times in multiple areas. Um, and so I would be interested to hear it because I'm sure there's more music from both of them somewhere in the vault somewhere. Um, but because of how much I love On God from Death Race for Love, I would definitely like if there is more Juice WRLD and Young Thug music out there, I definitely almost am more interested in that just because I think their chemistry and their I think Lil Uzi Vert and Juice WRLD are so good at building their own world and you have to get into that world and you have to really commit to that world to understand not understand but you have to let yourself feel that music and from On God with Young Thug and Juice WRLD, I mean it's just relentless. It's from the very beginning, it the pace it takes, the them swapping, you know, 4 bars each going back and forth, the hook, like doing ad libs for each other. I think that was such a and I kind of like that crossover collab where you have kind of a more cemented artist and an upcoming artist. I mean, we saw it with World on Drugs with Future and Juice WRLD, where it's like
Mhm.
you have this guy who's like a legend, you know what I mean? Like a legitimate legend. And then you have them work. And not to say that Lil Uzi isn't, but Lil Uzi's like way closer in age to, I mean, I actually, this could be wrong in terms of the actual numbers,
Mhm.
but in terms of like where the lane that Uzi occupied, that felt already closer to Juice WRLD than Young Thug. So I
Yeah.
kind of like the broader collab of Juice WRLD and Young Thug. But I mean, obviously, if there's any more Juice and Lil Uzi music out there, it's not like I'm gonna, you know, if it comes out, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah. I think we need to complete the triangle. Juice WRLD has a collab album with Future. Lil Uzi has a collab album with Future. Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD together. I think Young Thug is definitely in this conversation. Future is definitely in this conversation. But in terms of artists who came out, um, who really made their mark since 2016 and on, I think that Juice WRLD and Lil Uzi vocally are two of the most limitless artists that we've seen. So the concept of Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD, Lil Uzi hopping on a Juice WRLD vibe, Juice WRLD hopping on a Lil Uzi vibe, Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD um exploring other vibes together, like a rock album with Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD, or maybe like a pop album with Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD. There's just no limitation to where these two can go, and that by itself is amazing. Now there are times where we see artists that are also limitless and they do something and it doesn't work. However, we've been waiting for the pink tape for like 3 years. So you know the attention to detail that Lil Uzi has to his music prevents that from happening. Also, Juice WRLD as well, just the pure ease in which Juice WRLD is able to give you a quality take also cements that the concept of a Juice WRLD Lil Uzi album being trashed just doesn't exist. Period.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, those two things, and also understanding that they are really the um, two of the biggest artists that we've seen, especially in our generation. Again, I think that that would be something that would shut down the internet. I think it would be something that would shut down music. Like I don't really see how there could be something that would be better than a Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD collab tape. And I'm acknowledging that Young Thug and Juice WRLD would also be a good collab tape as well. But Lil Uzi just has Lil Uzi has a bigger fan base. Like he's more palatable to more people than Young Thug. Like sometimes when I'm listening to Young Thug, I'm like, okay, this is great, but I don't need more of this. And I don't ever really feel that way with Lil Uzi. I'm like, okay, give me more of that. So for that reason, I think a Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD collab tape probably would be on the same level as maybe Watch the Throne, because of it's two great artists at their absolute peaks coming together. And that's not really something, that's something we really see like what, like twice in a generation, three times in a generation maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I think the conversation, and as we have this conversation, you think about it more and more. Like, obviously, the biggest tragedy of all this is that, a 21-year-old kid is gone. You know what I mean? Like, you can take away talent, you can take away the music. That is the biggest tragedy of this. Is that, a kid who just turned 21 years old lost his life right after he turned 21. And I'm sure you feel the same. Like, as I get older, I mean, when I was 21, 21 felt like, all right, I have things figured out. You know what I mean? I'm like, but as I approach 25, I'm like, yeah, 21, you're like, you're in 25. I'm sure when I'm approaching 30, I'll look at 25 and be like, yo, come on, like, you didn't know anything. And so, like, aside from the possible collaborations that won't ever happen, I think that the one of the biggest disappointing things about how everything played out and how everything, came to an end, is that we're not going to get the mature album. You know what I mean? And I think that the four albums that Juice WRLD put out, everything that's been out on SoundCloud, singles that have come out, features that have come out, the talent is so obvious, and the subject matter is so heavy in so many different ways, whether it's love, whether it's drugs, addiction, depression. The subject matter is so heavy, but there's definitely a rawness to it. I'm in my late teens and I feel everything on a million. And this is how I'm gonna give that to you. And so that's to me is like the biggest thing, that even listening to Goodbye and Good Riddance 5 years later, it's like, I wish that we were gonna get the mature album, the album where it's like, all right, let me pare this down, let me take a step back and tell you exactly what I want to tell you and get right to it. And like, it makes me thankful for, like albums like Swimming in Circles from Mac Miller, that we got him, we got that next step. And it's unfortunate that there won't be steps after it, but we got that next step. And when I think about someone like Juice WRLD, it's like, I just listening to his music back now, it's still so good, but it makes me long for an album that will never exist.
Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs, and we spent the past 10 minutes talking about what ifs because we're talking about collab albums that probably won't happen. That being said, to wrap up this conversation about Juice WRLD and Goodbye and Good Riddance, what are your favorite tracks from Goodbye and Good Riddance ranked?
All right, so I'm gonna go from top to bottom here, and I have three of them, and then an honorable mention that I told you about on text before this. So, like,
Okay.
I already said it earlier, Candles is my number one, and then it's tough. All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dream are tough to kind of fit into this, because, like, it's like, yeah, of course, like, you know what I mean, like, yeah.
It's the obvious
But
choice.
right, and sometimes you want to overlook that obvious choice, and you don't want to pick it because it's too obvious. But I really thought about it, and All Girls Are the Same, number two. Like, and it could be number one, but I kind of didn't want to pick, like, the biggest one to the second biggest one to be, my favorite. So I
He
have
didn't
Candles,
really
All Girls
listen
Are the
to
Same.
it. He just looked at the
Right.
numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Scared of Love would be my number three. And
Mhm.
then I'll go honorable mention. I really, really love No Good. Like, I love
Yeah.
that as a SoundCloud song. I love that it's here. So I know that we were going off the original track list, so that's like a little honorable mention. But yeah, so Candles, All Girls Are the Same, Scared of Love, No Good.
Candles just missed mine. From bottom to top, I have I'm Still. Like also another thing on this album, like the different uh uses of different instruments that are prevalent on this album. Again, like he gives you hits, he gives you quality B-sides, he also gives you tracks that show you where he could potentially go. And again, like that just shows you how talented of an artist he is and how bad it is or how sad it is that he's passed and how we weren't going to get any music from him aside from the fact that he's a human being and we hope that he would have eventually gotten over his problems or eventually I shouldn't say that eventually healed from his problems is probably the better way to say that. So I'm going with I'm Still, and then Long Gone is crazy, Lucid Dreams, End of the World. I love that song so much. The beat and then also the storytelling on it is great. and used to, again, the repetition of it and just that kind of rockish feel to it as well that he really incorporated with his music as well. It was really something that I really, really enjoyed. All right, this has been the Cat Podcast, episode 403. Let us know your favorite Juice WRLD songs in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OldMilk Media, and check out all the Old Milk merch on oldmilk.co. That being said, we will probably be back next week because Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy, well, probably NBA Youngboy, but Lil Durk says that he's going to drop next week. So we will be back to talk about those. Until then, thank you for watching, and we are out.
Oh.